Dan, I think I can speak for most of our listeners that are you shocked by the level of rage? That I mean, it's like it's not normal at all. It's like something we haven't seen before. And then maybe Dan, speak to this. Do you think that that level of outrageous rage, right now, is shaking us, waking us up? I mean, one could even go to say this demonic spirit is becoming one of the great evangelizers in that
Yeah,
people
in a
are
sense, yeah, Father,
just
you're right.
people are just shocked and said, I need to
Yeah.
get back to God. Can you speak to that, Dan?
Yeah, it's the old phrase is the devil militates to absurdity.
Yeah.
And when you see this absurd rage, this absurd response, you begin to see the diabolic. You start to see the hoof prints in the ground, and you realize that something other is happening here. This is why, we see many of the modern secular podcasters and influencers like Sean Ryan and Tucker and many others that have huge platforms. They're all talking about evil. They're all talking about they recognize something wicked is happening. But again, as I mentioned, the Billy Joel song, "We Didn't Start the Fire." I came across this. You'll like this, Father. This is right before the fall of Jerusalem. You talk about fomenting discord and so many vectors coming together again. This is written by Josephus in his Jewish wars, and he's describing historically what's taking place before the fall of Jerusalem. Now, Jerusalem has all sorts of symbolic meaning as well, okay, both biblically and for us, the church, the New Jerusalem. There was a guy named John the Galilean, and he had a band of brigands, okay, of just rebels going through the city, okay. And here's what he says. The interesting thing: these guys going through the city were not just fomenting discord; these were actually transvestite assassins. Okay, imagine this:
Wow.
transvestite assassins in today's modern world. Here's what he says. He's writing about the time before the fall of Jerusalem in 70 AD. With their insatiable hunger for loot, they ransacked the houses of the wealthy, murdered men, and violated women for sport. They guzzled their loot, washed down with blood, and from mere satiety. They shamefully gave themselves up to effeminate practices, plaiting their hair and putting on women's clothes, drenching themselves with perfumes, and painting their eyelids to make themselves attractive. They
Wow.
copied not merely the dress, but also the passions of women, devising in their excess of licentiousness unlawful pleasures in which they wallowed as in a brothel. Thus they entirely polluted the city with their foul practices. Yet though they wore women's faces, their hands were murderous. They would approach with mincing steps, and whipping out their swords from undyed cloaks, they would impale passers-by. I mean, this was we see the agents of chaos in this case, this group of John the Galilean and this band of assassins going through just creating discord, just creating chaos. Because out of the chaos, this is where the new order or new world order comes. Think about Baphomet, the statue that has been featured in some cities around Christmas time, in other times. And if you look at that image, he's got a complete disordering of creation. You've got the head of a beast, the body of a female, and the lower torso of a male. A complete inversion of God's created order, right? Where man has a dominion over creation, right? And then at his feet are children, often three children, same genders and ages of the appearances of Fatima in some cases. And on his arm is something very telling, a tattoo that was taken from, medieval alchemy, a solve et coagula, solve et coagula, dissolve and then reconstruct and rebuild. And so it's in that we're in this phase now of you see the enemy in these absurd occurrences. They're in the process of trying to break down the Western civilization, the Christian foundation of the West and of our cities and of this nation. And so that's the battle plan. They can break it down. Father, if you remember, from your philosophy days, Hegel's dialectic. You remember that? That was
Mhm.
something I always talk about, Hegel's dialectic.
Yeah.
You have the thesis, the antithesis, and then the synthesis. So you have the thesis, the primary principle, you crash into it, it's complete opposite, so that you can, out of the ruins of that, reconstruct the new synthesis, the new bringing together. And that's kind of the way that chaos is meant to bring about. It's solve et coagula. This is the work of Baphomet, which we know goes all the way back to Moloch and all these other wicked things of the Old Testament that the people of God struggled with throughout their history.